Welcome. This practice physically is going to focus on some of the movements of the hip, specifically abduction, abduction, where your leg moves away from the midline out toward the side, adduction, where you're hooking in toward the midline, you're adding it back, adduction, internal and external rotation, so turning the hip or the leg rather inward, the thigh inward, rolling the thigh out, as well as engaging hamstrings, engaging quadriceps, and creating a strong foundation within the legs. With that all being said, a deeper focus of this practice is more about how we might be compensating. So there are certain postures, especially in like my body, where I tend to engage other areas in order to get the job done rather than actually engaging the muscles that need to be working. And that comes from lots of different things, injuries, not knowing, not having an awareness, things like that. So as you're moving on your mat, maybe notice if that is something that happens physically. And if you start to notice it in your body on the mat, maybe that starts to bring up some thoughts and feelings and how you can handle that. Maybe if it starts here on the mat, you notice it elsewhere in your life as well, right? This particular practice is more of a kind of like slow flow, a slower vinyasa. There's actually not going to be any like plank to chaturanga to back bend to down dog flows. Most people call those vinyasas. I don't like that term. I call them a plank flow. There's not going to be any of that. However, there's going to be a lot on the knees. So feel free to grab some cushioning to help decrease any sensitivity that might be present in the knees. And know that although this practice is going to go through some more foundational postures, even if you have what you would consider an advanced practice, this might be really difficult because I'm challenging you to probably work your body in a way you're not used to doing it. So with all of that being said, like I said, you might want some cushion, so towel, blanket, pillow, whatever you have available. Even just folding up the mat some when we're on the knees is fine. You might choose to have a couple blocks available, whether that's to sit on them during the beginning or to use to build the earth up to you so you don't quite have to take hands down as far as you might feel like you need to. Particularly if you're used to being able to go fairly far in poses and now you're engaging muscles differently, engaging your structure differently, you might find that the props can help create a conducive environment for that. So use them. They're not a negative thing. They're really awesome. I love them. So we are going to get started in a seat. It can be any seat that you would like. I'm going to choose to face the camera for this first few moments of the practice and then turn away. So I'm going to be facing you and mirroring you. You do not need to face the wide edge of your mat. You can face forward, whatever feels right for you. I'm going to crisscross applesauce my legs, so easy seat or Sukhasana. But feel free to kneel on your shins or have your legs out long, whatever seems right. We're just going to take a moment to settle in. So eyes can be open or closed. Lengthen up through the roof of your mouth and soften the space between your eyebrows. Allow your jaw to unclench and your tongue to gently fall away from the roof of your mouth. Breathe in through your nose and lift your shoulders up by your ears. And part your lips, sigh out your breath, roll your shoulders back and down. Maintain the broadening through your chest, the slight hug of the shoulder blades. Draw the ribs a little closer together and slightly down toward your hip points. Hug the belly button back toward the spine and up toward the ribs. Draw the flesh that lives between your hip points slightly in and up. Scan your body, check in, take inventory of how it feels in this moment, where you might be feeling any tension, tightness, discomfort, or ease. We don't always just have to focus on the negative. Scan the mind, take inventory of the thoughts and the feelings that are present in this moment. And start to focus in on your breath. You've been given a little preview of what's to come. A lot of leg work, a little bit of emotional work possibly. Take a slow, deep inhale through your nose. Allow your breath to travel all the way down into your belly and fill up to the base of your throat. And part your lips, slowly sigh out your breath from your throat down to your belly. Breathe in through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. One more breath in. Open mouth, sigh. Allow the lips to close. Find a breath that suits you best. A slow, steady rhythm. Maybe you choose to add a little texture into your throat, finding your Ujjayi pranayama. And breathe in, slowly open your eyes. Gently send your legs long out in front of you. Feel free to sit onto a block or something with a little bit of height to it. And slowly slide your right leg out wide. So you're straddling the right leg, but everyone's straddle is a little bit different. So maybe that was just a few inches. Maybe it's quite a few. Totally up to your body. And then breathe in, bring your left knee in toward your chest. And then allow your left knee to gently roll open. And depending on how your body feels in this moment and what's happening in your left hip where you have external rotation happening, you might find that having it down low is really uncomfortable, or maybe it doesn't open very far. Maybe it's like way up in your chest and you need a little support because this is a lot of work to hold it up right now. Grab a block or something, again, with a little bit of height. You can place it underneath your knee for some support, no matter what height that might be. So fill in the gap. And notice how the back of your right leg feels if there's a lot of stress and tension happening right now, especially because we're not warm. This is the warm up. You could take something else, roll up blanket, towel, block, pillow, whatever, place it underneath your right knee. That's still going to allow you to lengthen the back of your leg, but it's going to take away some of the stress so that your leg has a little bit more space in it. Any and all of these are fine. You don't have to do any of them. But take a breath, grow tall. Reach your arms up by your ears. Breathe out, turn your ribs toward your right leg and reach toward your foot as you fold. We don't need to touch the foot. You don't need to go very low. Breathe in, curl in on yourself, chin to chest, ribs toward the hip, round through your back, roll up like a zombie. Arms reach up high by the ears. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll up, curl in on yourself as you stack your vertebra one at a time. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, fold one more time. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, hands come down. Now, if you do have the props underneath your legs, I'm going to ask that you slide them out for a moment. Bring your right leg in a little bit. Bring your left foot a little closer to your right. Doesn't need to touch. We're just narrowing up the space a little bit. Breathe in, reach up high. Breathe out, take your left hand behind your left hip. You're going to push into your left hand, your right heel, your left knee or your shin or your foot, whatever's got your point of contact to the earth at the moment. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, sit. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sit. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sit. Inhale, come to a seat. Lengthen through the spine. Bring the legs around. Come onto the hands and the knees. However makes sense. Sending some weight into your hands. Let your shoulders stack on your wrists. Your index fingers can point forward to the front edge of your mat, or your middle fingers can point forward. Push the floor away from you so your chest is not collapsing between your arms. Push it up. Belly button to spine. Ribs hug slightly in and down toward the hips. Obliques, so side abs are engaged. Back muscles are engaged. We're going to keep the pelvis as level as possible. And then breathe in. Slide your right leg long behind you. And then take your right leg out wide. So a similar shape in the legs, not exactly the same, but we're still abducting our right leg. It's rolling in just like when you were seated. And press down into your left knee, either the pads of the left toes or the toenails, depending on if you have your toes tucked or untucked. Squeeze your left glutes. And if you're not sure your left glutes are firing or your left outer hip, gently take your left hand to your hip. Push your hip into your hand into your hip. And then keep that engagement. Breathe in, lift your right leg. Breathe out, lower your leg. Notice if you lifted your leg, your left bum pushed out. Really try to engage those muscles. It's easy to send our weight over and lift our leg. But what are we actually working? What are we engaging? We can do it without engaging anything, really. So really think about using your left bum, your left leg. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. One more time. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. Gently bring your right knee back underneath your right hip. Come to a seat. Legs long in front of you. Straddle your left leg. Bringing your right knee toward your chest. Gently lower your right leg. So we've got our external rotation now on our right leg. We have abduction in the left. We slid it out from our midline. And it's slightly internally rotated. That is Pris, my Beagle Dachshund mix. Someone's making noise out there. Add in your blocks if you need them, whether that's under the knees or under the bum. Breathe in, grow tall, arms up by the ears. Breathe out, twist the ribs, fold. Breathe in, roll up like a zombie. Breathe out, fold. Breathe in, roll up like a zombie. Breathe out, fold. Breathe in, roll up like a zombie. Breathe out, hands come down. Slightly narrow up the legs. Ready? Breathe in, hands up high. Lengthen through the spine, engage the core. Use your legs, press into your points of contact. Breathe out, right hand comes down behind the right hip. Breathe in, lift. I'm using my bum. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. Swing the legs around. Come to your hands and your knees. Arms are for support, so we're not collapsing down. Pushing the floor away. Right knee is under the right hip. Right toes can be tucked or untucked, but make sure you're pressing down with the foot, whether that's into your toenails or the pads of your toes. Engage the muscles, wrapping them around your right thigh bone. If you need to, right hand or right outer hip, push hip into hand, hand into hip. Maybe even give your bum a little touch, right? It's yours. It's fine. Breathe in, left leg long. Slide it around to the side. So again, similar shape. Abduction. Keep bracing through the right leg. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. Notice if you let your right bum move out, or it started out really fine and you were like, woo, woo, and then it happened. Maybe don't go as high. Go until, or right before, you lose that ability to brace. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. Nice job. Bring your left knee under your left hip. I'm going to turn to the front of the mat. Take the hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes. Breathe out, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. If you need a little wiggle or shake, take it. You could lift the heels and lower them. You can pedal out the legs by bending one knee and then the other. You can sway hips. Then finding a little stillness in your down dog. Press the hands down into the earth and then try to push your mat forward away from you. Allow your upper arms to wrap around your ears, like your triceps are trying to point down toward the mat and your biceps up toward the ceiling. You're going to feel a little widening, a little space between the shoulder blades. Little softness in the knees. Try to tilt your tailbone slightly up. And then, imagining you can turn your feet out without actually moving them. So we're just using energy right now. Try to push your outer heels toward the outer edges of your mat. Breathe in, lift high onto your toes. Bend into the knees, look at your hands. Breathe out, tiptoe, or walk your feet to your hands, finding a forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen through the crown of the head, chin slightly toward the chest like you're holding an apple or an orange there. Belly button engaged, shoulder blades are drawing slightly toward each other so your heart can press slightly forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll up through your spine like a zombie to stand. Once your head stacks on your shoulders, sweep your arms overhead, palms meet. Exhale, hands to the heart. As you find your Samastihi, your equal standing pose, take a moment, lift all 10 toes, spread your toes wide, gently place them down. Try to press weight into the pinky toe mound and the big toe mound of your foot. Try to press into the inner and outer heel or edges of your heel. Your arch lift. And when you engage through the feet, you might notice a change in the legs. Right? We can always stand like normal, or we can put a lot of work into it. You might feel your bum firm up, even your core engage. Your core is not just your front body, it's this whole trunk. It's your legs, it's your bum. Breathe in, send your hands up high. Keep your legs firing. Breathe out, hands slide through your heart, bend into your knees, push your hips back and fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. If your legs lost engagement, now that we're down low, take your hands to your outer knees, press your knees into your hands. Then allow your arms to hang heavy, your head hangs heavy. Inhale, roll up through your spine to stand. Take your time. So the hips move and start to level out. Then slowly stacking one vertebra on top of another. Then shoulders, then head, arms sweep overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, hands slide through the heart, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, zombie, roll up to stand. Arms sweep. Exhale, hands to heart. Adding on. Inhale, arms up high and part them to shoulder width. Pinkies point forward, thumbs point behind you. But notice if your arms are flaring, your armpits are wide open, your tricep is pointing out to the side, your biceps pointing in toward your ear. Rather, from your shoulder, you're gonna wrap your arm forward. So now your tricep is facing forward, your bicep is curling back, still pinky forward, thumb back. Breathe in, legs engaged. Breathe out, send weight toward your heels. Bend into your knees, sit into a chair, but keep your chest and heart lifted. Utkatasana. Breathe out, take your arms by your sides and then reach slightly back. Palms face one another, thumbs forward, pinkies back. Option to keep space between the hands if this is already a lot for your chest. Great place to be. If you need a little bit more, and you could grab your right wrist with your left hand, it's fine. Maybe you can grab your right elbow. Maybe you can interlace your fingers with your left thumb on top. And breathe in, shrug your shoulders wherever you're at. Breathe out, roll back and down. Elbows can be bent if fingers are interlaced, or arms can be long. One more breath. Breathe out, push into the feet, straighten the legs. Hinge at the hip, fold. As you fold, shoulder blades slide down toward the hips. Head hangs heavy. You can add a bend into the knees once more. Keep the neck long. Keep rolling the shoulder blades toward each other, collarbones broad. Exhale, release the arms down toward the earth. Hands can find the earth or a block or something with some height, even the seat of a chair or the bottom rung of a dining chair. Great. Whatever you can get your hands onto. Take your right hand for just a moment. Place it to the outside of your right knee. Press your right knee into your right hand so your leg is braced and firm. You've got your glutes firing up, your hamstrings working. Even though the hamstrings are lengthening, they're still getting some strength. Quads working. Breathe in, lift your left heel. Option to keep your left toes grounded. Still a lot of work here. Or option to lift your left heel toward your bum. If you're lifting your left foot, did your right leg relax? Keep hugging your hip in line with your ankle. Then exhale, step your left foot as far back as is comfortable for your body. And gently bring your left knee down to the mat. Left toes can be tucked or untucked. Just like in your tabletop posture, this is totally up to you. Either way, you're pressing down into the toenails or the pads of the toes. Left knee and shin are pressing down if the top of the foot is grounded. Left knee is pressing down if it's the toes that are grounded. Press into the big toe mound of the right foot, the pinky toe mound, inner and outer heel. Breathe in, push it down to lift your chest. Right hand to the right knee, left hand on top. Woo. And before we reach the arms up any higher, we're going to keep working on our foundation. Imagine that your right foot can pull back. And as you hug your right foot back, notice your left leg wants to pull forward. So we're going to create this action of pulling forward and back. But also think of an imaginary resistance band around your left thigh and your right thigh. So they're looped. And it's hugging them in toward this imaginary line in the middle of your body. Woo! Breathe in, reach your arms up high, just like before. Triceps wrap forward, biceps wrap back. Breathe out, twist from your ribs to the right. Arms open to the horizon. Inhale up to the middle. Exhale, twist. Inhale up to the middle. Exhale, twist. Inhale up to the middle. Exhale, hands come down. Begin to shift your weight slightly back if your left knee is behind your left hip. So you can start to stack your left hip onto your left knee. We're going to work on straightening the right leg, but rather than sitting so far back that we can do that, we're going to stack left hip on left knee, wiggle right foot forward just enough that the leg can straighten. You can press to the heel and lift the ball and the toes. Now notice as you wiggle your right foot forward, if your right hip shifts in front of your left, we're going to try to keep those on the same plane, level forward, or level side to side rather. So find that. Hands can be on earth or block. Block is always going to give you a little bit of extra space to wiggle around. I'm taking a couple breaths here, letting some length come into the back of the leg. Now the leg is not just hanging out here. I'm pressing heavy down into the heel. My foot is engaged. I have energy shooting out of my toes to the sky. Squeezing the calf, squeezing the thigh as if I'm trying to pull the kneecap up toward the hip. And I am trying to plug my right thigh bone into my right hip socket. Breathe in, either with the strength of your right leg or your peace fingers and thumb of your right hand. You're going to shift your right foot to the middle of your mat. Right toes are going to stay up. I'm isolating this leg. It is not going to move. You're going to feel some rotation in the hip socket, but I'm not moving the leg. I'm moving my body around it. Breathe out. Take your hands over toward the left side of your mat. You're going to turn to face the left edge. Right leg stays where it is. I am swiveling the left leg. So now my left shin points toward the right edge of the mat. Hands can be on the blocks to do this. Squeezing my left outer hip in, left glute, left leg, just like you did in your hands and knees. Breathe in, come up. Shoulders over hips, core engaged, pressing down into my bottom leg. Breathe in, arms up high. Breathe out, bend to your right. Right hand finds the right leg, but I'm not dumping the weight into it. Inhale, come up. Exhale, left hand to the left hip or the left outer thigh. Bend to the left. Breathe in, come up. Breathe out, bend. So I'm doing a lot of work here. I'm engaging right bum to allow the inner thigh to roll up and out, or up and back. Outer hip goes down and forward. Inhale up. Exhale, bend to the left. It's also taking a lot of work to balance. Breathe in up. Exhale, bend to the right. Inhale up. Exhale, bend to the left. Inhale up. Exhale, hands come down. Inhale, walk around, turn toward the front of your mat one more time and shift your weight forward so the bottom of your right foot comes down into your low lunge. Hands can be on the floor or your blocks on the lower middle height will give you some height. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee. Breathe out, step your right foot back to meet your left downward facing dog. Press the hands down and forward. Outer edge of the heels, you're trying to press to the outer edges of your mat. Sitting bones, lifting slightly up. Breathe in, lift high onto the toes, bend into the knees, look at the hands. Exhale, tiptoe or step your feet forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Lengthen through the top of the head. Hold your imaginary orange or your apple. Shoulder blades hug toward each other. Heart presses toward the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, zombie roll up to stand. Arms sweep. Exhale, hands to heart. Now let's do that on the other side. Inhale, arms up high. Arms part to about shoulder width. Triceps wrap forward, biceps wrap back. Trunk, your cylinder is engaged. Legs are firing up, breathe in. Breathe out, weight toward the heels, bend the knees, lift through the heart, Utkatasana, fierce pose. Breathe out, arms back. Again, all you have to do is reach back. There's a lot happening already. Shoulder blades are hugging toward each other. Collarbones are broad. If you grabbed your right wrist, this time you're going to grab the left or your left elbow, or right thumb goes on top of left. Roll the shoulders back and down. Option to straighten the arms or keep the elbows bent. You can play and see which one suits you. Breathe in. Breathe out, push into the feet, hips shift back, fold. Legs are still working. Shoulders away from the ears, shoulder blades are sliding toward the tailbone. Breathe out, arms hang heavy. Hands find floor or a block. I'm going to use the blocks this time to show how that might look. Left hand is going to go to the left or the outer left knee. Press the knee into the hand so you're engaging. Breathe in, lift your right heel. Toes can stay down or foot can lift. Notice if you swayed your butt out, hug it back in. Breathe out, Step your right foot back as far as is comfortable for you. Bring your right knee down. Walk the hands with or without your blocks back underneath your shoulders. So again, working with your feet first. Press into big toe, pinky toe mound. Outside edge of the heel, inside edge of the heel, feel your arch lift. Press down into either the toenails, the top of the foot, the shin, the knee, the pads, the toes, the knee. Imagine front foot pulling back toward the back foot. Breathe in, come up, left hand to the knee, right hand. Still have this forward back hugging motion. So we don't have just one directional midline of our body. When we hug our front foot back and our back knee forward, we're hugging in toward our midline that runs. I'm going to get the technical term wrong, so I'm not even going to try with that right now. But it's the plane that cuts us in half in the middle along our sides so that we can see the front or the back. So we're hugging toward that. Now we're going to hug our legs in toward each other, and we're hugging them toward the midline that runs from the center from front to back so that you can see either your left or your right if you were split. Then breathe in, arms up high. I never can remember the actual terms. I know the words, but I can never remember which one goes with which. Breathe in. Breathe out, twist from the ribs to the left. Arms reach forward and back. Breathe into the middle. Breathe out, twist. Breathe into the middle. Breathe out, twist. Breathe into the middle. Breathe out, hands come down. Shift into your half split. Right hip stacks on the right knee. Left leg straightens enough that you can lift the ball and the toes. Left hip's trying to stay on the same line as the right hip, so it's not forward of it. You're not in a slight twist. Shift your foot to the middle of your mat, either by grabbing the foot or using your leg strength to move it. Hands go over toward the right. You're turning your torso and your right knee and shin to face the right edge of the mat. Left leg stays as it was. We're just moving around it. Then, bracing through the right hip, breathe in, come up. Arms reach high. Breathe out, bend to the left leg. Hand is light on the leg. Leg is super strong. Inhale up. Right leg super strong. Exhale, bend to the right. Breathe in up. Exhale, bend to the left. Inhale up. Exhale, bend to the right. Inhale up. Exhale, bend to the left. Inhale up. Exhale to the right. Inhale up. Exhale, hands down to the blocks or the earth. Walk your hands around, turn toward the front, breathing in. Shift your weight into your low lunge. Hands to the floor or the blocks on the lower medium height as you take your hands forward a step or two to frame your front foot. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee. Breathe out, step your left foot to meet your right down dog. Taking a couple moments, wiggles or shakes. Getting some pressure off of the knees. Maybe this is a more relaxed down dog, maybe not so active, right? It's okay to soften. You don't have to be so intense all the time. Breathe in, lift high up onto the toes, bend the knees, look at the hands. Breathe out, tiptoe, or step your feet forward to forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Legs engaged. Inhale, roll up through the spine. Arms sweep overhead, palms meet. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's flow through that. Breath to movement. Inhale, arms up high, part the arms. Exhale, sit into your chair. Utkatasana. Take a breath in here. Breathe out, arms go back. However works for you. Breathe in, shrug the shoulders up and roll them back and down. Exhale, fold. Breathe in. Breathe out, release the arms, hands to the floor or to your blocks, your choice. Breathe in, send weight to your right foot. Lift your left heel or float your left foot to your bum. Right leg super engaged. Breathe out, step your left foot back. Gently guide your left knee down. Pressing into your foot of your front leg, your back leg. Breathe in, rise up. Breathe out, twist to the right. Breathe into the middle. Breathe out, twist. Breathe into the middle. Breathe out, twist. Breathe in. Breathe out, hands down. Shift your weight back to your half split. Wiggle your right leg forward, send it to the middle. Walk your hands around and turn. A lot of movement there. Inhale, rise up, hips on left knee, hands up high. Exhale, bend to your long leg. Inhale up. Exhale, bend to the left. Inhale up. Exhale, bend to the right. Inhale up. Exhale, bend to the left. Inhale up. Exhale, bend to the right. Inhale up. Exhale, bend to the left. Inhale up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, turn to the front, find your low lunge. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee. Breathe out, step your right foot to meet your left. Inhale, rise onto the toes, bend the knees, look at the hands. Exhale, tiptoe or step forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, zombie roll up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, hands high, part your arms. Exhale, sit into your chair. Breathe in. Breathe out, arms back. Take your option. Breathe in, shrug up. Exhale, roll back and down. Breathe in. Breathe out, fold. Breathe in here. Exhale, release the arms. Hands find the floor or your blocks. Breathe in, weight to your left foot. Lift your right heel or lift your right foot. Breathe out, step your right foot back. Gently lower your knee. Breathe in, come up. Legs active. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, hands down. Shift your weight to your half split. Left foot moves to the middle of the mat. Turn toward the right edge of your mat. Inhale, rise up for gate pose. Exhale, bend to your left leg. Inhale to the middle. Exhale, bend to the right. Inhale up. Exhale to your front leg. Inhale, middle. Exhale to the back. Inhale, middle. Exhale to the front. Inhale, middle. Exhale, back. Inhale, middle. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, walk your hands around, find your low lunge. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee. Exhale, left foot meets the right, down dog. Take 2 full breaths here. Breathe in, lift high up onto your toes, bend your knees, look at your hands. Exhale, tiptoe or step to your forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll up through your spine. Exhale, hands to heart. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Part your lips, sigh out your breath. Breathe in, open your eyes. Lift high up onto your toes. Breathe out, bend into your knees. Slowly take your time. Come down to a seat. It's okay to take your hands to something for some height. Whee. Shift your hips toward the middle of your mat. Plant the bottoms of your feet. Knees are bent and up. Notice if you've kind of rolled a little bit further onto your tailbone, you're curled in on yourself. Lift your heart up and forward. And you can feel the tilt of your pelvis change a little bit more toward the front of your sitting bones. Belly button goes in and up. Ribs hug in, slightly down. You could lightly brace maybe the outer edge of the legs. Maybe you hold the crease behind the knee. Maybe you don't hold on to anything. Start to lean back. Keep your heart forward. Try to avoid that rounding action. Begin to lift your left heel, then your left toes, bringing your right shin parallel to the sky. You might let go of your right leg. Maybe you reach your right hand forward. Using thigh muscles wrapped around the thigh bone to help lift the leg. So a lot of hip flexor work here. Breathe out, right foot comes down. Maybe you lightly hold on to the right leg for some support. Breathe in, lift your left heel. Then float the left toes. Bring the left shin parallel to the ceiling. Brace around the thigh bone. Maybe you lift your left hand away. Notice if you slowly start to dip down, and keep lifting through your heart. Exhale, left foot comes down. Breathe in, draw your chest forward, come on to your tailbone. Gently lower your left knee and shin out. Heel toe your right foot a little bit wider. Start to bring your left shin a little more toward the center of your mat. Right knee is going to turn in. So I rotated the left leg out, external rotation. Now I'm going to internally rotate the right knee, and I'm going to shift my right leg back so that it's a bit more, my right knee is a bit more in line with my right hip. It is okay to allow some of your weight to shift from your right hip into your left. My right bum is slightly lifted right now. There's a little gap there. That's fine. Take a breath in. Lengthen up through the roof of the mouth. Engage the core. Breathe out. Start to lean forward from your hips. Press through your heart so you're not curling your heart in on itself. You're leading forward with it. Hands walk forward and fold. Try to maintain as much length in your spine as you can. So this is still an active variation of a pigeon pose. We're not just curling in and going into a nap that I know you really want to do. We're still staying pretty upright. Pressing the pinky toe edge of the left foot into the earth. I'm pressing my outer left thigh, the outer part of the calf down into the floor. Breathe in, come up. Breathe out, turn slightly toward your left knee. Hands frame the knee. They can be on the floor or a block. This is a lot of work that's going to be happening in the right leg. So if you need to like grunt or anything to help you get through that, that's totally fine, especially because this is your own practice in your own home. I have no idea what you're doing. Breathe in, push in your left leg down into the floor. Try to lift your right ankle, your right knee. Doesn't have to go high. Exhale, gently lower. You might need to lean a little forward with your left, toward your left leg to help counterbalance. Breathe in, lift. Squeeze your right bum. Squeeze your outer right thigh. Breathe out, lower. Whew. One more, breathe in, lift. And breathe out, lower. Breathe in, come up. Switch the legs. Right shin's gonna come down, leg is rolling out. Left knee is rolling in, trying to get the knee about in line with the hip. Doesn't have to be exact. Pressing into pinky toe edge, big toe edge. Breathe in, grow tall, lengthen. Feel free to shift your weight between your hips. Breathe out, walk the hands forward, fold from your hip. Keep leading through your heart like someone's pulling a string out of it. Pause before you start to round into your back. Breathe in, walk the hands in toward you, sit up. Breathe out, turn slightly toward your right leg. Hands plant, lean forward. You're really gonna work on this leg. It's a similar action to hiking the leg if you're on your hands and knees, but our body's in a slightly different shape, so we have to work a little bit differently. Breathe and try to lift the left knee, the left ankle. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out, lower. Breathe in, lift. So I'm abducting. I'm taking this leg away from the midline of the body. Breathe out, lower. Nice. Breathe in, come up. Turn forward. Gently bring the left leg forward. Plant both of your feet. Come down onto your back. Whew. Bottoms of the feet plant a little further away from your body. Arms by your sides, palms up or down, your choice. Taking a moment to find the natural curves of your spine. Breathe in. Step the feet about half a footprint toward you. Heel toe the inner edges of your feet together to touch. Reach your arms out toward the sides like a T shape. Breathe in once more. Press down into your feet just enough that you can lift your hips and set them off to the right about 2 inches. So your hips are off center. And breathe out, gently lower both of your knees to the left. Use your muscles to lower them rather than just letting gravity do the work. Right shoulder blade presses down toward the earth. Gaze can be up toward the sky. That's going to give you a moderate twist into your neck, your cervical spine. If that feels uncomfortable, you could take your gaze to your left hand. That's going to help give you more of a neutral motion in your neck. Or if you need a little bit more depth, turn your head to look at your right hand. Notice if your right hip wants to dip toward your right ribs, can you press your right hip toward the front edge of your mat? That might even mean your left side body gets a little bit of a gap between it and the floor. And breathe in, come up to the middle. Shift your hips to the middle of the mat for just a moment. Pause here. And breathe in, press into the feet. Shift your hips 2 inches to the left so they're off center. And breathe out, gently lower your knees to the right. Again, you can turn your head any direction that feels appropriate for your neck, for this side of your body. Left hip is going to press toward the front edge of the mat. Breathe in, come back up to the middle. Bring the knees into the chest for a moment. Grab onto the shins or the backs of the thighs, or wrap your arms around your legs. Lift your head toward your knees. Give yourself a hug. Hold your hug for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out, release your body. Come into a Shavasana. If you have time to rest, I highly encourage it. Maybe you gently sit up, take some seated meditation. But this is where I'm going to leave you. Do what you need to do to seal out your practice. Your hips are fairly warmed up, or pretty warmed up, to go into some balancing postures. So do what feels best for you. Thank you.